Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the March 28, 2023, not 2022 as the agenda says, Capital Improvement Plan Committee meeting. I will start as always at the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First on the agenda is approval of minutes. I will accept a motion to approve the November 1st, 2022 CIP committee meeting minutes.
I'll move to make that motion.
I will second it.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? Edits from the amendments? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Next, review updated request form and hold a discussion on amending the CIP manual and rules of procedure. Bart, do you want to tell?
Yeah, so basically, based off last year's process, there was a lot of concern that there wasn't enough space on the request form, and it has been updated in a long time. So I just took a look at other communities, what they did, and I just made that update, and basically it just really organizes much more. It's a lot clearer. There's more space for project descriptions. There's more other descriptions where, how does a request relate back to the master plan, which was a huge theme last year, and then it just really helps the committee here digest the information much more quickly and efficiently. So if there's any questions on the form, happy to amend it. As I know this is the first time you're seeing it, but maybe next meeting, if there's anything that you want to add to it, I'd be happy to do that. But really, the idea is to understand what money is already used going towards a project, what money is needed, so you get the full picture of the request. Yes, Brett.
Yeah. All I would just say is like where it says project description on the front page, maybe just a little thing on the side that says more room on back.
Okay, yeah. Yep.
So where would we see kind of like the existing capital that's been allocated, like what's in reserve versus what they're asking for?
Okay, so that's a good one. So what's already in the reserve? That's a good one.
Because that's what we
Yeah.
want to look at. We want to say, hey, what's already there? What are they saying they need to spend over so many years? Do we need to put more in there or not?
Well, it's not. We're talking about amendment.
I would add it. Yeah. Yep.
It feels to me like along the similar lines that so this is like the capital improvement plan should not just include new asks, right? Things that are ongoing, things that are work that are asking for more funding. I wonder if there's any sort of everything starts this year forward. There's no view on what have we spent on this project up to this point, what work has been done. You know what I mean?
Right.
It just looks like we're only looking forward. There's no. I feel like we were missing context.
I think that with project description, that's fine. Like if it's an existing project, they just put down they just put down what they've already done there. We just say if it's an existing project, just write in the project description where you already are. Don't know that it needs a new box or.
Yeah, well, maybe it's more of a. Because when I think about a capital, what I would hope we get to a place is that departments don't need if they have a capital improvement plan for something that is over so many years, they don't have to retype it up every year and resubmit.
This one isn't for that. This is for new money, right?
So
Well, yeah.
what does the ongoing look like? We should have a plan that lists all the money we're spending, so we shouldn't drag department heads in. This is my feeling, being okay, I know you've talked to us about this before, add this, you're asking as much as, okay, this is the plan that's been approved, they're requesting the money that they asked for, in accordance with the plan. Once we approve the plan, it would be edits to the plan that we would have to approve.
So maybe that's a second form then, this is for new capital improvement projects, and then we have a continuing project form, so that they can update, basically that's something what?
It's just like a master list of everything that's in
Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
That's where we start.
that's where we start. It feels like we're always starting with, here's a bunch of stuff that people are requesting, not a, here is everything that's been approved, here are the ongoing plans, and then like, for context, so that when people are asking for money to go into a capital reserve fund based on a plan that's been discussed and is ongoing, yes, we have the option to say like, well, we don't want to keep funding that because the world has changed, but at least understanding the context of like, this is money that's been saved for this purpose,
Right.
versus this is a whole new request coming in.
Right, so we need a comprehensive list of every project that's been approved, that's in process, and money's been allocated to, with, where they projected more each year. So if we approved something last year, we made a capital, we increased the capital reserve for it, and it projected that we were gonna need money in subsequent years, that's still gonna come before us, right?
Yes, if
Right,
they,
it's not like gonna automatically get.
Right.
Right.
but I feel like the rigor we would give that might be different than a new one coming to us.
Because we've already been through it,
Right.
we've anticipated what they've asked for, it makes sense, they haven't changed it.
It would have to be like something really drastic changed in the world or our community to make us be like,
Right.
let's not fund that anymore.
Right, so I see like too, so you have this form for request, because they still have to make the request each year.
Yeah,
And then you have another form that shows all the projects,
that like to me,
past and
the
future.
plan, to me,
Yeah.
that is the community's
And
capital
that's what
improvement
everybody
plan.
wants to see, we want
So I think that's
everybody-
more for us.
Yeah.
than
Yeah,
anything
us or the
else. Yeah,
community
yeah.
members who are interested about like how we're
Yeah,
saving
yeah, that's what
money.
I'm saying, in
Yeah.
general,
And I think for anybody who's,
Okay.
creating capital
Makes
requests,
sense.
it's good for them to see the whole picture, we talked about that last year.
Yeah.
So if I'm in whatever, trying to make this for some department, it's good for me to know what else is there already.
Okay, so I guess what I'll do then for the next meeting is make that master list, put together, how far you wanna go back, like 6 years? 6 years, 'cause 6 years
mean,
forward, do you wanna do
Whatever's
6
an
years?
ongoing plan. Like
Okay.
if there's something that's done, then it's
Yeah.
done. We're like,
Yeah,
but it's
right.
like if there is an active ongoing plan
We want
for
it on that
work,
list.
we would want that in our capital improvement plan.
Okay. Active, okay.
And then the link to what funds it's drawing from. Cause like that's where we got kinda like hung up in some conversations last year, if I recall. Like it was like not knowing how, a lot of times it looked like they were just asking for new money and not knowing how the old money that was already saved up was gonna be spent. That linkage seemed tenuous in some places. Am I remembering that correctly?
No,
Yes, I just remembered there was something else we had talked about. I'm just
Yeah.
looking through my notes.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I try to achieve here, like where else of the money are you sourcing it for this project?
Yeah, that's
Right.
good.
Yeah,
It's good I think right, like water fees, sewer fees,
Right.
like if it's, because a lot of the sewer ones weren't even coming from capital reserve, they're all being like fee, right?
Mhm. Right. Exactly, so like,
So not to be a party pooper, but the $50,000 question for me is like, how do we even make this relevant? Like last year,
Yeah.
there was no visibility to what we did a good job, I thought. We had hearings.
Yep.
We had things we thought made sense and things we thought didn't. There was no visibility to that. Wasn't in the town manager's presentation.
Yeah.
Wasn't talked about at the deliberative session. I'm sorry, Brian, I don't want to interrupt you.
No, sorry, I just found it. It's like, in the future, allow CIP requests to be shared and shared between all departments to promote cross-department funding or cooperative, for example, the rec department sound system could also be split with the school since it impacted both. Did we do anything with that, or is that not?
I think that gets to that master like
This is like-
plan.
Yeah, so that goes, okay, so,
Yeah.
no,
That-
I just,
that's totally about that. though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so the master list.
That is that's the relevancy.
I mean, I almost feel like it's a waste of time the way it was treated last year.
Yeah.
And I don't like that because I think it's important and I like being part of it. But if it's not gonna even be visible in any of the, like the town manager's thing shows, whether the budget committee approved it, whether the town council approved it, whether the town manager approved it.
Did say.
Nothing about CIP. Deliberative session, we're voting, or there's an opportunity to discuss this before
Yeah.
a vote. no presentation, no nothing, Zippo. So it's almost like we didn't exist, and we didn't really have any influence on anything. So how would we change that? And what does the law allow us to influence? Because we want to exert that influence if we could.
Yeah. I feel like we have like a real responsibility to the community, and that like we are the place that like only looking with laser focus on how we are saving money for long-term expenses. That like in collaboration with the town planner, but like this is the only board with that charge, right? The only committee with that charge.
Like I questioned the town manager about that. I sent you guys the clip of it in an email, and basically all he said was, that this is helpful in terms of long-term planning. Something to that effect. But it's kind of like, I don't really bother with it, when I do the budget.
And that just to me comes down to, again, what his position, like, is responsible for the most part, is often like the day-to-day operations, right? The operating budget is like where he's going to be drawing. It's just like the nature of the work draws him into that space. That's not a statement about Steve as much as the role.
But this has a direct impact on the budget.
Absolutely.
Whether we make a contribution to a capital reserve or not. And we run into issues like the vehicles, where I've got that on tape. Like I saved it, like what he said. See what he does, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is that we want to promote more awareness of the CIP and what we do in the public. We want our recommendations to be kind of listed in the same way that budget and town council committees are, and we want a chance to present it at deliberative session. Is that a fair assessment?
Or
just some sort of...
to the council, or to like at some point during the budget process. Because right now what happens is like we say it goes to the town manager, and the town manager does what he wants to with it, and then it just goes into his budget.
Off it goes, right.
It's like, at no point at council was it ever discussed, here's how the CIP committee voted on this in the budget.
Honestly, I did try to run through what we had, but honestly, there's too many things. We have our committee reports where we talk about but trying to go through everything in there, like I did the main highlights, but it really would require like a full, like a little actual presentation there, and then me trying to read off my notes real quick.
It feels like I'm sorry, I did not watch the town council budget workshops.
No one does.
There's at least 3 people watching.
Okay.
They're probably at home right now watching us. My question is, when you voted on budgets by department, or got the briefs by department, were capital reserve requests folded into department requests or treated separately?
I honestly do not remember. It's been a while, but...
I wonder if they were treated separately, and we were allowed, like departments come and talk during the budget process. Like the capital improvement committee gets an opportunity to brief at the budget process directly to the council. It gives us a voice at least during the deliberations about budget. Because deliberative sessions can just amend gross numbers, right? So even if they amended it's just gonna be by a gross number, not like the council. I think is where budgets actually can be.
Right. The budget committee could say at the end of the day, we recommend a change to the bottom line. We did it 2 years ago, because of something that was capital that we thought should have been funded or should not have been funded.
Yep.
But that's really pretty ineffective.
That can go to anything. That's fungible money. That can go anywhere.
And if we wanted to increase it, they can use that money for whatever they want. If we want to decrease it, then they could recommend that or not.
Yep.
But the voters would see that. It would be part of the deliberative session. We should have a bigger, to your point, we should have more visibility somehow. I don't know whether that's with the town council or with the town manager.
I feel like this to me is part of getting to, we have a master plan and we have a capital improvement plan that is directly linked to the master plan. It is how we are long-term executing components of the master plan. Having this plan and using that as both the guide, briefing the council on it, in public, having that as the guide, and then even having an opportunity in the budgets to talk to both the council or the deliberative session, right?
This is very cross-functional. You have budget, planning, school,
Yep.
council. So this committee is pretty unique in that respect.
Absolutely. It's really the only place where there was a move a decade ago to try to do more cross-functionally between the town and the school. And like, honestly, like, the representation of town and school on this board, on this committee, is like one of the last things left of that. We might be like one of the few places that there's absolute, like the community actually has voice.
I think Portsmouth has a CIP community, event, right, where
Citizens can
citizens
Yeah.
can come in and
do requests.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Why don't we do that?
Why don't we do that? I mean, I think we need our plan put together, but like then be like, hey, like if we can get like, here's the work that's going on for capital like improvements in the community right now that's approved. Like, do community members have things they want to see? The things that might come forward.
They're the voters. It's their money.
We can look into their process.
Yeah.
Line, come back to the report.
My biggest thing about the process would be, if they do that, would it go directly to the ballot, or would then that's something that the town would have to vote on?
I mean,
Or like a
if
council?
we propose here, and here it
Yeah.
comes to what our role is.
Yeah.
If we propose it, right now the way the process goes is it goes from us to Steve to council.
Okay,
And sorry, town manager, I shouldn't personalize it.
yeah.
But
But
if it went from us to council, I think that's a different thing.
so the idea being that the citizens come and present, we discuss it here, and then move up to the council level.
Yeah.
Okay, so citizen, us, and council, that's okay.
I mean, I think we have to look at, we have
Yeah,
probably have to
maybe
talk to
more
Steve about the budget process, about where our recommendations come in, post town manager's recommendation.
So we said.
Right now it comes in pre, but
Yeah.
my question is, like, does it have to? Because if you look at the RSAs, and it's been a bit since I looked at them, if a community doesn't have a CIP committee, the planning board serves the function.
Right.
I mean, so like, I feel like in this venue, like, we are not the planning board, but in this specific component of town planning, like, we are like, to be on par with like the type of authority a planning board would have. Which is not ministerial, it's like they actually have a function. I agree, I just don't want us to spend hours and hours and hours, and like, for like, what functionally is just like something that's ignored.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to drag these
Yep.
guys in here using their valuable time to question all this and make a recommendation that nobody's even going to see.
Yeah,
I think we had a pretty good idea last time where we basically had, I think where we had it was like there for our first meeting, we just basically went through all of them. It's like, okay, we don't have questions about A, B, and C. And then we talked about ones we had actual questions about and then emailed them. I thought that was a good
Yeah, that's-
start at least. And, it was a little bit hard because I think the schedule was kind of cramped, so they
Yeah.
wouldn't, but if we had a more longer schedule and more time, it might be much,
Yeah.
I still think that's kind of system where we first look at it, get rid of the stuff we don't need to. But I think going back, we were talking about the form itself. Is there anything else we need to do about this? Or are we all good on this?
So this will be the request form. I'm gonna make a master list form,
yeah,
to, give a broader, bigger picture of where town's going.
and I feel like that master list ultimately becomes the capital improvement plan. Like, what we don't have right now, outside of like an aggregation of the sheets, is one place where like, here is our capital improvement plan for the community.
Well, possibly put it on the website, but
Well, I know, but like, I think that the sheet that we're
Yeah.
talking about here, this document that we're talking about here,
Yeah.
probably some narrative along with it, right? Like, becomes here is our Newmarket capital improvements.
So starting and then and then there's an ending.
And that like becomes like okay, here's the plan.
okay.
The season starts with us reviewing the plan, which is sort of what we did when we were like going through everything.
The plan will be all the current requests that are still needing funding.
Right, so then when
Yeah.
the funding requests come in, it's like, okay, like, these are ones we are continuing funding plans, like, has the world changed, we're just those, and then there's gonna be new projects that come in.
It'd be great if we could create a calendar
Yep.
where we actually have time to do this, unlike last year.
Yep.
That would be a pretty valuable thing to do early. I don't know if now's the right time, but,
Okay. Again, I just want to make sure we're moving. Bart, you're going to look into making a master list, okay? And did anyone have anything else to talk about this this draft form here, or we're all good with it?
I think it's more about like the procedure part of this.
Oh, okay.
Like, I feel like what the chunks of work to like get the
Yeah.
committee, like to organize our work between now and next, whatever it is, September, we have to have everything done.
Yeah, September 15th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, the organizing plan, I think conversation with the manager about the budget process and where CIP flows in that and how we can gain more visibility. Which I think then relates to like finding out what Portsmouth is doing with their community event and how can we mirror something.
I could look into that if you like.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, one of the things that, and since Jane isn't here, her major drum on how things go back to the master.
100, it's a great point.
And it seems to me that nobody's really, I mean, I know it's 20 years old, some of it's better, but, it's been done a little more recently, but, here's the question of yes or no master plan. So,
And then just the box underneath, I have a description,
yeah.
you know, yes or no, does it
How
relate
does
to it?
How does it relate to the master plan? So people really have to be
Yeah.
aware of the master plan.
It's all, like, I wonder if instead of yes or no, we had like, what chapters of the master plan does it
Yeah,
support? Or
what
what goals of the
chapters?
master plan
What
does it
chapters?
support? Something that makes them really be like, 'cause, like,
Oh, God, I better go look at it.
yeah,
Where does this tie into the master plan?
that we are supposed, yeah, that's exactly it. Like specifically where.
Yeah.
I mean, she doesn't just say it here, she says it at the planning board
She's right.
every
Yeah.
meeting.
Uh-huh.
So when we see plans, the planning board says something.
Yeah, with the, it's master plan. We really need a master plan rewrite.
That's coming, next year. We got funds for that, so.
So, I know the next agenda item is draft or presentation schedule for requesters. It feels like getting like the comprehensive list and like where, and like how we might fit ourselves in with some more like visibility into the budget process.
Okay.
Then like, okay, when do we want people? Because I think reviewing that master list is gonna drive the schedule of requesters. And timing requesters, I wouldn't expect, they just passed a budget, I wouldn't expect someone to like know right now, like, here's what my
Sure.
new, yeah.
Okay, so the next meeting, we'll, review the master list that I'll put together. And then from there, we'll have a better understand, we, you know, like you said, we won't know what they're gonna request, but we'll have an idea, based on projections, what they're gonna be asking money for.
Is there, like, could we, I don't know whether, like, you can talk through the budget timeline as a budget committee rep, should we have Steve talk to us about, like, the process, like,
And I talked to Steve about that, or?
We should ask to like have a meeting with Steve.
yeah.
That's
right.
what we should do.
I mean, functionally
He's a
having
member
Steve
of
come,
this committee.
well, he shouldn't be. Is he like, one of the non-voting members?
Yeah.
Oh, this is,
It would be like, you
Ex
know,
officio,
Ex officio.
what does that mean?
that means like non-voting, they can come, I think Bart's an ex officio member.
also, according to the rules of procedure, a quorum of 4 voting members should be
Yeah.
required, so we didn't have.
Well, it's because that's misreading quorum as if we had a full body.
Gotcha.
The number for quorum is how many people are of the
Oh,
committee
okay.
itself.
How do we work on getting at-large community members involved?
That'll be on me and, working with,
Advertising.
yeah. So,
Can we ask during a council meeting?
I suppose
Like,
so,
you
yeah.
know, during, us during a school board meeting, like, you know, for the
Yeah.
people that watch TV, right? Like,
Yeah, if you do, all you have to do is come up during public comment, bring it up, and that would be, anyone who saw it would see it, but,
would you mind doing it from the, like,
yeah.
during committee reports, being like, hey, we're looking for at-large members?
yeah.
So if my alternate wanted to participate along with me, she could be an at-large member, or no?
should
really-
resign?
She couldn't be budget, we couldn't have two.
Right.
Right, you couldn't have two budget committees.
I mean, we have like 3 open budget committee positions.
Yeah.
You can always tell when things are going okay in a community, that no one signs up for anything.
Right. Everything's unopposed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you say, the at-large members, I just want to be clear what that means.
People that are not coming from one of these other bodies, but are
Okay.
just community members.
You want to resign?
Okay.
Yeah, Newmarket residents.
So in the newsletter that should be published, that's there, I don't recall seeing that.
Yeah, it's a good point, like, all the committee vacancies, is this in the,
They're in the
Yeah.
newsletter.
We just got an email that one person who got one write-in vote, is going to be on our town council.
who's that?
They have
That's okay, we got, this not part of this business.
Yeah, so anyways, but, yeah, still a lot of open seats. If, for the
Are there
third,
still open seats on the council?
yeah, one more. There's one more open seat, was it 3, I think, were on budget,
3 on budget, yeah.
and 2 on planning?
Good lord.
No, time's full.
Might as well.
For Lincoln? Okay, so, something on those. Alright,
So back to the town manager,
Yeah.
it would be nice to, if it were possible, that he would attend a meeting.
Yeah.
And we could say to him, Mr. Town Manager, you know, we're committed to going through this process.
Yeah.
And it's important, but, you know, we'd like to understand,
Where does it fit?
are you gonna do
Process.
anything? Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I have to think about how to phrase it to him, but it would be like, we don't wanna go through it if it's not gonna be valued, visible,
If it's not serving, we're not providing a service to the community, then
Right.
like, what are we doing? We're just wasting time.
and if it's a service to him as the town manager, like, what exactly is he looking for from us?
Yeah.
Is he getting it? You know?
And I guess this is where I fit, like, where it fits in the budget process. Like, we are not, like, accountable to the town manager. It feels like we are being put in a position that we're accountable to him for his budget, but I feel like we're accountable to the residents of the town, which to me are represented by the council, not the manager.
Yeah, sure.
Which I think we should have a direct line, a more direct line to the council,
council,
where the
right.
budget's actually written. I mean, I know, right, the manager writes the budget and the
Yeah.
council, I get it, but it feels like we should have at least a voice during the council budget process.
and like I said, I think maybe like the best way to do that would just be schedule, like, once we have finish our stuff, schedule a meeting at the town council where we come forward and present what work we've done, and just bring our stuff forward, because again, I do read my notes during the committee, but it's not really as in detail or depth as like a full thing, so.
Yeah, and this is no way to say like you haven't been like carrying the water for us, as much as like when we have department heads come
Yeah.
and talk about their plans, like we are the capital improvement.
Yeah.
Like, we might as well function as a department brief and like, hey, here's the plan, here's how we think it should be funded.
Or maybe just, just do like a full write-up or something. And, because we do have department reports that come to us at town council from like police and such, so maybe we just have like, and, you know, for time, just a full CIP report where we just write about.
Yeah, but I still, yes, and, I think it's a yes and. I think there's power in like sitting in front of the council during the budget
Yeah, I
process.
think that's important.
Okay.
At least
Also
you'd
make
feel
the meeting
good,
longer.
at least you'd feel good about expressing, you know, what we've concluded from the process to the town council, where we see, what we think's the most important
Yeah.
stuff, where we see an issue. I would certainly want, if I was a town councilor, I would think that would be important.
Yeah, I mean, you get to hear the people who've been digging into this.
Right.
And like, functionally, like, we should do the same with the school board, probably. We're looking at school stuff too. Like,
Yeah.
I know we had a long conversation about like the plan to save money when we're talking about the school stuff. Like, I brought that to the school board meetings, and there's another school board member that sits in the budget committee that was also like in alignment about it.
Yeah, the whole discussion about capital reserve planning for the school
Yeah.
seemed like we actually had influence on that, like the superintendent.
I think it really influenced it.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
you talked about it at the deliberative session, so
Yep.
I felt like, that was a good conversation, right?
I think it's in one way because like they're just starting to apply like the regular, like there's been a whole capital conversations at the school of Alvin about building the building, right, renovating
Right,
the building.
now you're past
Now
that.
we're past that. I think now we're in a place where it's like, okay, like how do we organize like the maintenance of it, right? The
Right.
which is capital reserve funds, which is like, whereas the town's just sort of like going. It's like the core business constantly ongoing. It's like, how do you influence that?
So basically, for the next meeting, what I'm hearing is try to have town manager come in and have that conversation with them, and have that, where does the committee fit within that budget process? and, you know, how can the community be heard more?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a conversation, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, I don't think we're asking them the question as much as having a conversation about how the committee
Right.
can have
Right.
more of a.
In preparation for this year where we wanna
Right.
do a good job.
Yeah.
We wanna,
How does he use what we do,
right,
what you do?
Great question.
cause we didn't see any of that
Where
last
is
year.
he,
Yeah.
where does that come in what he's doing when he's figuring
Yeah,
everything out? I don't understand it if I were looking at it, and I've looked at these for years.
Yeah, so we can
Right,
have that
when-
conversation.
I had a question, if you, at the town council, when you're talking, when you're having budget meetings,
Uh-huh.
you ever sit, do you ever discuss what the CIP request was for something? Does it ever come up?
I don't think so. I'm sorry, it's been a day. I'm drawing a blank.
so, can I ask a related question on that? And you don't have to have an answer, but like, because the town council is the agent to expend of capital reserve funds. So when people come and ask for money out of capital
Yeah.
reserve funds, is it ever discussed, is this in alignment with the capital improvement plan?
No, not to my knowledge.
That's the rub right there. It's not nothing against the town council or anything, it's
Or
more of a,
was it on the capital improvement plan?
Yeah.
Did it go through that process?
yeah, like, this is where having the plan, right? So when people come and ask for capital reserve funds in the council, it's like, this is just part of the capital improvement plan, or this is outside of the capital improvement plan, at which point it's like, all right, like, money's coming out of things, it's got earmarked for something else, like, that's gonna impact things.
Right, did it go through that process of being vetted by the committee? You know,
Yes.
if they're doing a resolution to take out funds.
Right,
Yeah.
this is where I think having, and this is like, I think we can talk to the council, the budget committee, the planning board, just like, once we have a plan, like, we have assembled a capital improvement plan in alignment with the master plan, saying these are the projects, like, we should be leveraging this, like, we feel like it's our duty to the community to, like, support, like, positive, like, economic benefits of capital reserve funds as well as maintain, like, in alignment with the master plan, not just whatever would happen, who happens to be up here thinks.
So the master plan gets redone this coming year?
In 24, we start the process, yeah.
How long will it take? 2 years?
Maybe, I'm anticipating hopefully early 25 will be done.
It's a third party that we contract with to do that.
Yeah, so we're also going through another process too for a rezoning effort, which is separate, but we got additional money through Invest New Hampshire for a master plan update.
Okay.
So between capital reserve funds and that money, we have like $120,000 to
Good.
do, and we need to do a whole revamp of our master plan because there's some chapters, as Sue said, that haven't been updated since 2000.
Yeah, I saw like 2000, 2002,
Yeah.
like the zoning is outside of this, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I knew that. Feels
So-
related to the master plan, the zoning conversation.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Alright.
Just want to point, sorry to nitpick, just pointing out that this meeting's from 5:30 to 6:30. Do we think we've got everything we need, or should we vote to extend the meeting talk?
So what I got is a master list that shows the plan, and then I request the town manager to come in and have a dialogue over the process. Those are the two items, major items maybe.
The plan, like an actual aggregate plan.
Yep.
And talk about the process and
Yep.
how I think that
Process.
before we start looking at draft presentation schedules, that's the like
Yeah, that's what I think.
groundwork we have to lay.
Okay.
So process, understanding the process, creating the list, the master list, a master plan.
Which is a way we'll have everybody be looking at the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Which was part of last year.
Exactly. And then update the form here as well, so we'll have, as the requests are coming in, you're gonna have the master list and you're gonna have the, form. Is it a continuation
Yeah.
from the master list, or is it an addition to the
This is
master
Right.
list?
something new.
Yeah.
And I think that a key in that master list, and you're doing the draft of it, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure we're gonna edit, like,
Yeah, yeah.
that, like, iterate and improve. How they link to capital reserve funds, so that we can see, like, if multiple sources are drawing on single capital reserve funds, like, where that money is.
Which capital reserve funds? is it
where is
drawing
it going into, right? Like, just so it's not like, there's just money sitting in a capital reserve fund waiting for a day. Like, that's not,
from? Okay. Yeah.
there's a little complexity to it, like,
Yeah.
I recognize that, but
Okay.
I
Where
think
is
that's
it
the
drawn
rigor.
from? Are there multiple items drawn from the same fund?
Or just even like, what capital reserve funds are funding what capital improvement plans? I think that was a little bit fuzzy last year.
So what capital reserve funds are funding which projects, basically?
Capital improvement projects, yeah.
Yeah.
Because the plan is the ultimate
Exactly.
aggregation
So
of
which
the projects. There
is
we
the
go.
money drawn,
Yeah.
what account is the money being drawn from?
Great clarity of language.
Yeah.
So it's projects, then there's the plan.
Yeah.
Which is the aggregate of the projects.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, so, let's do that,
When do we want to meet again? In a month?
month?
We gotta have time to actually do all that stuff.
Yeah,
The other thing we talked about is Portsmouth.
and then we'll look into Portsmouth's process, and that's something
Did
we
you wanna,
should-
like-
Do you want me to do that, or?
I mean, if you
You-
have a
you
connection,
Yeah,
When do they hold their?
I wrote it down. I was gonna go find out
Okay.
who,
Are they not, they're not meeting all year round, are they?
I don't think
Portsmouth?
so.
but I was gonna find out who the person in Portsmouth is that does that, and see if I can contact them.
hey, just get an idea, that'd be fantastic.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
So a month from now is the end of April.
Keep doing it like on a Tuesday, or, I mean, Tuesdays
So-
are fine for me usually.
What's your schedule like?
It's a mess as usual. So Tuesday, the
25th.
25th, that's school vacation week. Does that matter to anyone here?
Nope.
Do you?
Yeah, my kid, no.
Okay,
I'm
alright.
Work tells me I can't take school vacation week off because I don't have kids.
good. Oh, that sounds illegal.
It kinda is.
It sounds, you should talk to someone in HR. 5:30 again?
That works
Yeah.
for me.
Okay,
Alright,
awesome.
Cool, 25th.
25th.
Yep, April 25th.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion, meeting is ended at 6:28.